9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3,
The vault.
2,
Open it.
1.
Hey, we're live! On s'est fait pogner. Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs. Welcome to the Agile Lounge. 100 episode. It's authentic. It's uncut. As you know, yeah, we just been cut. That's really funny. Already 5 people in across the platform. So welcome LinkedIn. Welcome Twitter. Welcome, whatchamacallit. Did I say LinkedIn? It's linked out, actually. And YouTube, especially YouTube. 697 on YouTube. I wish I would have 700 for 100, so let's make it happen today, like we are going to do and show you. So smash that like button, and it's going to be a special special broadcast today, live from the Crew Collective, the co-working space that I'm a member since 2016, and I love it. I just renew my contract for the 7th term. And share that video, share that stream right now to bring people with us. And we're going to have a lot of surprise today from Zoom calling, from maybe directly on the Melon app. I've guests here that you don't see right now, but you're going to see very soon here in the studio of the Crew Collective. And what I would like to say before we go, yes, again, 75% of you guys are. And let me just do a sound check because I want to see it. And what I would like to say. Sounds good, right? Yes. All right, sorry for the feedback. As you know, I'm not a professional podcaster, but I'm a professional business agility coach. And that's what counts, and doing it just to express other perspective and business agility, SCRUM, and the lean movement of becoming a better Beta Codex organization. And that's going to be for the next 100 episode. We're going to talk more about this, the definition of what is it. But what I was saying before, testing this in my hyperactivity is that I know from the stats, especially on Rumble and YouTube, that you are 75% of you watching up to 35 minutes on average, which is great apparently. But you're not subscribed. Why? Subscribe and hit the bell every Friday at 12 noon Eastern, 11 Central, 6 p.m. for our friend in Europe and Northern Africa. Because yes, a lot of people are watching me because you write it to me. And by the way, I'd like to thank Mohamed Jaffi for his Satoshi. Thank you very much for that. Thanks also to Naima. Is it Naima or Naimia? Who gave me a coffee. So here's my coffee. Thanks to you. So 100 episode. So I'll shut my mouth now. I'm with Shun.
Hi.
Shun or Lily? Shun. Okay. And that's really I know, guys, for the purists out there, I try to set up the camera to have everyone here. And Philip, if you see it, you could still around in the storm and join us. And I know Sabine is excused and Emily is excused, but that's life. Life happened, right? So how will you describe that you've been starting to be in our network? Is it from the IRL Agile? Is it from, because I know you're watching some of my podcasts, so I'm eager. It's agility, having direct feedback from a watcher. That will be very nice for celebrating this 100 episode and celebrating the spirit of Agile, of customer feedback first, people first, right?
Yes. So
tell us who you are and how you end up with a crazy co-chef like me, like this.
Well, hi, I'm Chen. I'm an aspiring Scrum Master in Montreal, and actually, I became part of this network from the Scrum Beer event, which I've been to 2, I think, and it's
That's
always
right.
really nice.
The Scrum Beer, so that's how we catch you.
Yeah, exactly.
Because other people, they tell that I doing all that to catch people, but actually I'm not catching people. No. You're not fish, you're people. Exactly. It's not people with the common interest of either Scrum, business agility, and could we say elevate employee experience?
Yeah, exactly.
And stuff like this, because we are in a business of trying to uncover new ways, and not new ways of just delivery and value creation, but it's also all of those of us who actually work hard to deliver those apps or software or also other products. Because, at the Agile Lounge, we are also giving services to people that have nothing to do with the software shop, but they embrace the Scrum organizational system for their business as well. We did a lot of event industry, restaurants, stuff like this. So they use a kind of the Scrum way of doing this too, because
because it's centered around the values first. So
exactly
these values creates better collaboration and a better place, better environments to work for the people involved. So
let me play around a little bit. For those who are live on today broadcasting of Friday the 13th, this is Shun. But Elizabeth, my dear UI angel, I'm just asking you. It's always on invitation. So if you don't have time, Elizabeth, and if you're watching it, I'm recording with the iPhone camera as well. And if you'd like to give us a montage of your beautiful touch with Uncut or Cut Pro, I don't remember the name of the software. So I welcome about 17 people watching right now across the board. The best experience to chat with us is on YouTube. So on LinkedIn, I already put the link for the YouTube. So I'm going to see the chat a lot faster here because on LinkedIn, it's about almost up to 1 minute delay. And it's not a chat, they call it a comment. So the user experience on LinkedIn, they made it for live stream, but they call it an event. And there's no chat, it's comment. And we don't see the comment even after. So, and it's a mess. So YouTube and Rumble is the best. And it's going to be within 10 seconds. I'll be able to chat with you guys. So welcome again for this 100th episode. IRL, open mic, so there's no subject. We just jump in, and anyone who will jump into the middle of an app letter from the United States and all around the world, you'll be welcome. And we do it till about 1-ish Eastern time, depending on who joins. It's completely, and this is the spirit of open space technology. What do you know about open space technology?
Well, I know open space like in real life, but I've very seldom done it through technology. But it's a space where people gather and can speak about everything without fear of judgment. But there is always a debate welcome as long as it's respectful. So that's.
Do you know the 4 rules of an open space?
I don't think so.
I'm kind of old to this.
Okay.
So I don't know by heart, like the 4 value of the manifesto. I could no problem.
The open space.
About the open space because it's Harrison Owen who was the founder of it back in the 70s.
Oh.
So that was way before Agile. It was already and actually Wayne Dyer wrote a book in 2008, reinventing, but not reinventing. I would say pushing this idea of an open space. Now, Harrison Owen did that open space technology for the IT and software industry back then. So one of the first rules that I really remember is those who show up in the room are the right person. So the rules goes like this. It's all the other 3s or even 5 now. And Wayne Dyer in 2008, he wrote a book called High Performer, Open Space and a High Performer with Peace or something like this.
Okay.
And back then, the word peace in business didn't make sense.
No.
So I think they rephrased it. And now today is the same thing with Richard Barrett of the Conscious Capitalist Institute and my late other mentor, Stéphane Leblanc of the International Conscious Leadership Institute. When they talk about love, apparently we cannot talk about love in a boardroom with CEO and so no. So love and peace is not welcome in business yet. But it will have to be. Because as I mentioned in my previous podcast, 2023, guys, it's the time individually, professionally, personally, and collectively to make decisions about how we are going to live together, ensemble et différent, together and different, because we are all unique spirit and human being. Even our body are completely unique. No either person in the last 4 billion years, but I know human is not 4 billion years, but nobody had your eyes. Do you understand that? Nobody. Even if we clone it, it will not be the same. It's like the snowflake. We have a story in Montreal.
Yeah.
We all know that. I don't know if we have the proof of it or if it's only a theory, but apparently no snowflakes is the same. Do you believe it? or does there?
I don't know because there's a lot of snowflakes, but I know that they are very different in terms of their structure because it's a crystal.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if there is actually no different snowflake, well, that's
All of them are unique, like human being. And we're 8 billion now. Did you know that we crossed the 8 billion mark?
Okay.
Just before Christmas? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was 7.9 for a couple of months, and now we are 8 billion plus on this beautiful earth. That is a beautiful place, right?
That is. So we have to find better ways to share it. Well, actually share it.
Yeah. Yeah. So but open space is interesting because I had one of my colleagues, Michael Orman, that you could find. This was probably one of the greatest interview. We did a kind of an open mic back in the middle of the pandemic because that all things start like this. I was a bit alone in Tulum and working on some other project of blockchain and stuff. And all of a sudden, I saw like people were vlogging for Digital Nomad and other things. And I said to myself, hold on a second. I had my project of the IRL Agile. It was there already. It was already launched. But of course, because in the pandemic, it was slower. So I decided to go on with the podcast. But for a live stream, I'm really hyperactive. I have a loud mouth and I love to speak. And then I start doing and participating and interview myself with people in Tulum and in Cancun. So, and then all of a sudden, 100 weeks ago, I started streaming every Friday at noon. But actually, as Samuel, that I say hi, Samuel, if you're watching from San Francisco, he's my kind of marketing coach or publisher type of thing. It's a guy that I met when I was working at Yelp. You know Yelp?
Yelp,
the application for mostly restaurant, but anything. So I was part of that. They hired me as a project manager, but the team called me the Scrum Master, you see. So, and we will really deliver it in the Scrum way. With increment and stuff. So that's where I met him, a nice UI designer, an amazing guy. He's also really well versed. He has his own company in marketing to help solopreneur and everything. So he's helping me doing everything like this. And so he reminded me that it's the 100 episodes since we counted. But if I include the initiative we had at the very beginning of the pandemic, March 13, 2020, at the beginning of the coup d'etat, I did for the 2 weeks to flatten the curve, yeah? And we're still here. Because do you know that in Quebec right now, the Emergency Act is still in force?
Oh,
some of my friends, they counted, it's, let me see it here. We are the 1,068 days since the Emergency Act. Still active in Canada and United States, Australia, New Zealand, France, UK, Germany. It's still on. They never removed it. They never stopped it. So every 2 weeks, someone from our government goes to the lieutenant governor in Quebec and asks him to prolong it for another 2 weeks. So that 2 weeks been prolonged it since then, ever since then. And of course, you will say, oh, but we don't live like this anymore. Yes, but they could quickly enact anything as they wish. But I don't want to be too much into it. People will call it politics, but I mean, this is not politics. It's about our living together and togetherness and decentralized. You and I am an adult, right? We are responsible adults. So, and how do we live together? So all of these questions should be asked moving on, I think, beyond business agility, and how could we use business agility to help us think otherwise and our collective living together. What's your take on that?
Well, actually, I do think that the agile principles and the values they entail have a very real life application outside of work. So yes, since they are all about promoting the person or the individual over the things and the processes, because even if we take it with more scientific and philosophical point of view, the things happen. We are the observers of nature. So since our experience of the world, of everything, depends on our point of view, on the fact that we are here cogito ergo sum, if you excuse my Latin. Well, I think that at the center...
Your German Latin, it's perfect. I mean, like, it's because it's from Nietzsche, right? Nietzsche.
Cogito ergo sum, I don't think so. I think it's from
Yes,
Descartes.
and the gay knowledge or the...
No, it's from Descartes, I think.
Oh, maybe, but anyways, that's...
So because of that, I think that we have to put the individual with the S, like the collectivity of individuals first and foremost, and then around us gravitates all, well, the things, the concepts, the way we do, but at the center there are people.
So that's the people first thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and of course in business, what they say is... I'm just improvising. I'm a cameraman right now with a MacBook Air. So, because someone was asking, like, what's going on? You have an earthquake? No, it's no earthquake, guys. It's just like, because my beautiful camera here, it's not, anyways. So people first, exactly. So, and this is why I think if people are, how could I say that? People are really genuine about doing the right thing. But what is the right thing? How do we agree on the right thing?
Well, that's a more tricky question because there will be the social morals, but there can be reason that's not always in line with social moral. There can be personal moral. Well, we come into very metaphysical philosophy questions here.
I like it.
So if you're following Kant, for example, say moral is always the right thing. But if you're following Nietzsche, it's the desire for power, because power enables us, because power is to be able to happiness and to be able to growth. But if you take, for example, Lao Tzu, it's going to be different. It's the Tao, which is an order, but not the order we think. It's not order as social order, it's more as natural order and so on. So
social order
and natural order is not always the same.
Interesting. So, well, you see this kind of is it again, we are catching a binary or kind of a risk of polarization of idea of like between culture and nature.
But I don't think there is a dichotomy between the two. I think it's just building blocks.
Oh, love it. So, tell us more. Building blocks.
So, how I see it, and well, I'm no philosopher or anything, but from my readings, I see that natural order could be described as, for example, the laws of physics, of nature, of chemistry, and instincts, because that's what is. It's because those are the order that makes it those are the rules to let us see there is something instead of nothing. Why is there something instead of nothing? Why is cosmos established and it's not chaos? Chaos as what's come before cosmos from ancient Greek. But
I thought chaos was everything.
Yeah, it is.
Everyone, everywhere, all at once.
Yeah, but
like the movie they made, like I love it. Like,
what movie?
I just did the title with my words. The movie is called Everything, Everywhere. No, it's Everything, Everyone, Everywhere, All at Once. That's the name of the movie. So that's some of you like it, yeah?
Sounds interesting.
Yeah.
It will.
So, and I thought chaos was that moment where everything was there, everyone was there. Like, they talk like pre-singularity.
Yes, exactly.
Or maybe if we are reaching, our goal is to become the singularity again. It's maybe that kind of a cycle we trap in, and then the singularity. Oh, we achieve singularity, which is another Big Bang. I don't know.
We don't know.
Because the only thing I know, Sean, you know what? The only thing I know? The only thing that I know for sure.
What is it?
I don't know nothing.
Yeah.
It's that I don't know. So we could just express, and that's the funny thing with the social media these days, right? Everything is visual. This is an agile principle, kind of. But the funny thing is, when everything is transparent, we end up having the good, the bad, the mad, the ugly, and the awesomely beautiful, and everything. It's everything. And me, I embrace it. I think the real diversity, it's about that. It's not about diversity of everything that differentiates us, like the color of our skin, our gender, our religion, blah, 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 blah. So they said, no, let's embrace diversity and that, but they forget the diversity of idea, of philosophy, of perspective. That's my, I don't know, that's troubling me actually. As an individual who would like to be a stakeholder of that society, of building a part. And I don't like that we are imposed in many aspects of our life, at work. So, so we see it all the time, especially increasingly in the last 5-6 years, will you say?
Yeah, I think because actually through inclusion, I would think would be that everyone is welcome as an individual, as someone who is equal, and we're all humans after all. So inclusivity would be I welcome you as another human, and I welcome you to share ideas and to discuss.
Having a sane debate.
Exactly.
And I've seen something lately very interesting for those who still believe in the left and right paradigm. So they invite people with left-leaning on social aspect, but having a conversation with people with more conservative views. Mm-hmm. And I think we lost it because when I was younger and I was active as a militant in political parties, I was not seeing the other parties or the other members of the youth, liberal or what have you, as enemies or foe. I've seen them as, maybe ideologist adversary, perspective on how we manage our living together adversary, but adversary is not an enemy.
No, it's like in martial arts. I did karate, and when you're in a fight in karate, the person in front of you, yes, you're fighting with them, you're exchanging blows, but you ultimately respect them. You know that they're another person. They have a certain mastery of their craft, and so that's why
the craftsmanship, the craftswomanship.
Exactly.
Yes,
exactly. So yes, you're fighting with them for moments, but it's not. There's no hate. They're just we're fighting. Then after the fight, we're done, and maybe we're gonna have a coffee together. Who knows?
That's awesome. Yes, and understanding. For me, I came to a realization during this holidays. Let's call it the holidays of the end of year or whatever. We all know we are 2023 of the Roman Catholic Empire. But I came to a realization that all of those debate on any subject, everybody like on social media, they have something to say. I welcome this, yes, but the debate is very high quality because people forget an important thing. It's understanding each other, asking questions. And yes, you could push an idea, but what about pulling an idea?
Exactly.
Like we do in Scrum with the stuff to the value creation. Mm-hmm. And just an idea like this, I'm connecting the dot like this, I'm crazy like that. And for me, but what I discover is people need control. They need control to be comfortable. Mm-hmm. They need and right now, you know that I might change my life in the next 2 years by becoming more into the travel type of industry, whatever. A lot of people call me crazy because they say that, oh my God, with the climate change and the pandemic all around, it's not the right industry to pivot. But for me, I'm doing it with scientists, and we do specific tour on megalithic structure, ancient civilization and stuff like this. And what I realized in my training for becoming a guide and also a lecturer because we do lecture on site, on spot. That's what we do. Nice. So we are in Tiwanaku, for example, in Mexico. And instead of having a conference in an hotel, we have the conference while we visit the pyramid and stuff like this. They do the same in the Giza Plateau and Baalbek and Lebanon and stuff like this. So that's organization that I will do my first paid contract this February in Mexico as an apprentice, because I will be an apprentice guide tour and stuff like this, because I do have knowledge, but I have to gain experience. I will come back to it after about our more like concrete business agility and Scrum thing. But the funny thing, what I realized, because they also teach us about managing the tour, the guests that come with us and stuff, and control and understanding. So you might want to visit Peru or Mexico or India, but according to the question we have from the customer, it's all about this control. They want to have control of how they will, because we offer everything. The only thing you have to do is pay your flight to come join us in the country in question. But after that, we take care of the boat, the ground transport, and the flight inside the tour.
Okay.
And some people ask questions, and now we see those who want to understand by their question, or those who want to control. And I end up to realize that, more you want to control things, you will impose your way to others, just because you want your little comfort zone, your own little comfort zone. So that's maybe the basic resistance to change on anything we could do. What do you think?
Well, I think
What's your perspective on it?
That's an interesting example. And well, for sure that when you travel to another country, it can be stressful, and people can be worried about, will it be safe? Will I have, I don't know, a place to sleep or stuff like that? But sometimes the discovery is also part of the journey. So I think it requires a balance between knowing, because you can know without controlling. So, for example, if I know I have to take a bus, let's say tomorrow at 10, I know I have to do that. Doesn't mean that I want to take control of the bus, but it just means that I know I have to be at this place, take this bus. So I think that there is always a question of balance, because understanding is being able to have a perception of things and to compute it in the brain, but control is being able to enforce your will. So it's two different, it's not a spectrum, but it's just two different variables.
Yeah. And what would you say, how much information or how much data will someone need to understand?
It depends on the person.
Interesting. So again, the perspective or the needs. Is there a needs in that? I don't know.
It depends on the person.
Depends on the person. So, because in communication, interestingly enough, you could send an email.
Yes.
For you, it's really clear what you're proposing. Then you receive a reply. The person says, the first thing in the reply is, I'm confused. Now, you're shocked that she's or he confused because you said, that was clear when I was asking about that.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. Because there's, it's a multiple way conversation. Now it's only one-on-one, but could you imagine like we are 5 here and stuff? And so that's the beauty of having a debate, but based on understanding. That's my thought. Because now I'll give you an example of traveling, and now it's great. But in the context of we have an open space or an open mic, people joined, it's create a new energy. You and I, we have a certain vibration, a certain energy. I think we think alike. We probably disagree on a couple of other things, and that's okay, and stuff. Now, let's say it's Philip. It's coming out of the storm, and he will change the energy. He will remove the snow, and instead he will sit down with us and having his coffee. So that will change even the energy for those who watch us, and so on. But what I'm saying is, it seems that social media or the digitalization of our not the marketplace. I forget they call Twitter like the square. The square, the public square where a speaker were like, the end is near,
like the Greeks.
So now because it's digital, it seems more easy for a lot of people just to fuck off, just to tell you go to hell, and there they could escape. They don't have any responsibility, and those who want to control the agenda, to control the message, and even in open space with the rules that I accept for those who show up. Or the right person, when it starts is the right time, and we could pull it out later, but there's some kind of very simplistic rules in it to make it very holistic, and what will be achieved will be about the people who are there. But if someone came to that space with a specific agenda,
that's possible.
That you want to push again, the push and pulling aspect of the thing. Because for me, I didn't participate in a lot of open space. I have to tell you the truth. I still have to learn a lot about this. So that's why, please, anybody here, don't take it as I know. I don't know shit about open space truly. And I was been a participant, compared to any kind of Kaizen stuff that I could be a master of it. But my understanding, for I've been in 3 full open space of 1 day, is to have that space open and to brainstorm and to come up with something that we put on the wall to say this is what we agree on, the agreement part of it. And even and it's not a consensual part of it. What will be the most things that we're going to agree on? And of course, it starts in business, and it starts in building something or developing a product. Yeah. So that's for me. It's really interesting because at first everything is possible, and now more and more people share their thought on this. And so it's not like having the product owner coming into your Scrum team and says like, okay, here's my vision, here's what the feature should do, da. So that's for the open space. This is wrong.
Yeah.
Because in the open space, the product owner should just be there, and the other circle shut up and listen what's going on in the inner circle with the customer, the user, and the team. That's what I've learned so far. So maybe guys in the comment below, tell me I'm wrong, teach me, I don't know. Because that's my understanding so far of my 2 participation, one in very software development company, that the C-level suite, like those guys who own the company who also manage it, they wanted to make sure that if they made a pivot in the way they will produce their product, their software, that the engineer they already have there will be part of it. So that's what the invitation base from Daniel Mizik, and doing it in an open space technology where they will decide all the new rules, the new agreement, the new even framework, everything was decided in 3 days of an open space. And as an Agile coach, I was invited by my client to listen. I was on the other circle my first time. As listen to this, because we're gonna need your help about what they decide in the inner circle to help them to facilitate the next steps.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So even if they use Scrum and some kind of Scrum with DevOps or DevOps with another more like Kanban, but Kanban is really more control. It's really more like at some point it's a lean system, yes, like Scrum, but I think Scrum you have more possibility of tailoring it to your development context, software development context, or product management context. Kanban you could too, I think. It's a more continuous thing, but you could have more, not impediment, I'm looking for the word, you could have more external force that will change direction, which is okay too, if it's meaningful, if it's like change the value thing. But and sometimes the Kanban people, they complicated the thing, and they forget that it was a lean system to cut on the crap or the meaningless things and like really focus on the thing. But I will say this: if you're a Scrum Master and you realize that the product goal is no longer sustainable because there's too many change, even if we're responding to change over following a plan, and then that has no sense for you to have a 3-week sprint and to wait for a package or an increment to be ready to be shippable and pushed. So now you could think of a more like a continuous integration and development that a Kanban visual board will help you follow on this, and it will reassure that those control, not freak at this point, it's normal, they need to control the budget and what's the value I have it out of all the work effort that you put there. So and this is it, like I'm not saying like a couple of weeks people work to me like, oh, you seems to despise control and centralization. Well, not despise, it's a big word, but I will say like it's like the ego. We have to have a minimum of ego to protect ourselves and our bodies and stuff, but the ego or the tool or whatever the things should not be used as everything. So you might need control on something, like my accountant could call me and says like, you better cut that spending. You know, the left brain people, they good at this. That's a kind of minimal control. And that's why they call controller or CPA and stuff like this. But that's kind of okay, because if we are too much on the right brain, with our creativity, like, yes, everything is possible. Like all the developer, they tell you, and as a Scrum Master, you'll figure it out. You will ask, and the PO will ask you, could we do this? Oh, yes, we could. Everything is possible. We just have to rewrite the script or to reorganize the thing, but it will take time.
Yes.
And business time is money.
Yes.
And this and that. So now that's why the left brainer will come and say, like, I just have 2.5 million here, not 7 million. So what could we do with that? So, you know the joke of, I need a circle, but I prefer, I need a purple circle, but I want you to draw me a green triangle.
Well, that's where
because that's the money I have.
But that's where communication comes, because we see what we want, what we think we can do, and find a way so what we do is closer to what we need and want.
Exactly. Amazing. So let's see. There's now there you don't see because this is like kind of live on the public channel. They don't show. Let's see on LinkedIn though, because sometimes LinkedIn is a little bit late. Let's take a break at half part. LinkedIn, they will tell. There's nobody on LinkedIn, so that's mean that the 15 people are probably across YouTube and a bit Twitter. I'm not on Instagram anymore. Oh, hold on a second. Maybe if I do this. Linked out. And you have the link on the chat. Come join us. It's live. Is it live? I don't know.
Yes, it is.
It is. So there's no one on the counter. That's the only one who show the counter. And otherwise on my Melon app, I've got a general counter on every platform. It says 15. So 15 guys, and thanks for the like, by the way. I saw a like on YouTube. Thank you very much for this. Yeah, we have a like here. So thanks for that. So you guys, it's an open mic. You could participate. I could open you a Zoom if you'd like to call us on. As I mentioned in the ticker, if you already have a Zoom app, you just put the number like you dial for a phone, the 514-212-1391. That's my PMI number, and we'll open it up. And for those their Real Agile guests and everything, you add the direct link to join us even with the video on the Melon app and join the conversation with Shun. So Shun, did I pronounce it well?
Yeah.
Yeah, you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. It's Shun?
Shun?
Shun? Shun. It's pretty Maya, actually, huh? You know that?
Is what?
Because when I'm in the Yucatan, I've got a Mayan family that adopt me.
Oh.
And of course, if you visit Mexico, you will hear Eduardo, Alfredo, blah, blah, blah. But the real name, it's a lot more like some continental Chinese name. One of the biggest family in the border of Guatemala and Chiapas is Chan and Wang.
Okay.
And in our alphabet, they literally use the phonetic of the Chinese, I think, because it's W-A-N-G and Chan is C-H-A-N, I think.
Yeah, the opinion.
Yeah, so it's really amazing, and they are. So that's why for me the Bering Strait theory, since I travel so much in Central America, and one of my ex-fiancés was from Madagascar, so they have a more Asian/Polynesian look than any other nation from the north or from the south. So for me, my theory is, and Graham Hancock. Do you know Graham Hancock? He was a great journalist in geology and archaeology, and now he has a story of ancient advanced civilization before us. No alien. No. Because he's knocking in that paradigm of those ancient alien. For him, it's ancient advanced civilization before a cataclysmic.
Okay.
That wipe up our memory of who we were before that cataclysmic, and now we became again hunter-gatherer, and we start over. And part of my theory is inspired by his work, that the Polynesian, anyways, that's the thing, Madagascar, just the island of Madagascar, you have Polynesian roots, genetic and biology, it's proven. But if you look at Polynesia and Madagascar, it's far away. So they have nice boat. I don't remember the name of the Polynesian boat, but they have nice boat. People say, oh, it's impossible that from Polynesia they reach the coast of Chile and Peru or even Central America. So like, yeah, well. And what about so we so much don't know about China. The real China. Why don't these people from China, the island or continental, were able to also float on boat and come to Central America back in the day? Well, we don't know, but that's something that.
But there could be research on that.
Yeah, because right now the academia, it's only now the Bering Strait. So, which means that the genetic pool, it's only Mongol and probably some people in the Ural. I don't know, but to me is, and no, really, like I was impressed, like when I start hearing the name, the real family name from the pre-classic era of the Mayan, it was all Chinese name, phonetically speaking. Chan, Wang, Wu, Hu, Vu, Lu. And even though Lu and Vu, I think it's more like Vietnamese, I think, or is it? Or
I think there's in both.
Lu, Lo, Lai, and so, okay. It's both, okay. It's interesting. I think for you.
I did not know. Well, I don't think I've been to Central America, so
No?
I don't know.
You'll be
Someday.
Yeah, someday you should. Maybe you'll come to one of my tour
That would be cool.
with you. Especially, that some people don't know yet, but the border of Chiapas and Guatemala, there's what we call the El Mirador.
Oh,
So of course, Mirador in Espanol is like
a place to see.
yeah. But the thing is, it's been for years the understanding that that's a big mirador, like a hill. But now they discovered there's a pyramid underneath, and it's 5 times the size of Giza.
Oh, wow.
Right across Guatemala and Chiapas, like really in the south point of Mexico states.
That could be interesting to visit.
Yeah, I went there. It's amazing. They're literally a system of cave and stuff, but like the Bosnian pyramid, they take, oh no, it's just a mountain. Like, yeah, well. But then again, if we go back to this possible ancient civilization, after a cataclysm, and the cataclysm is probably hit by a meteor or something like this, or big flood. Like the flood thing is everywhere, and every mythology, religion, and everything. Everybody talked about a flood. And you could have a flood if you have a rock hit in the Atlantic, and boom, like the waves.
Possible. Well, there need to be more research done on that topic. That would be interesting.
Oh yes, of course. I'm just speculating here. As I told you, the only thing I'm sure that I know is I know nothing. But So, but it's interesting. But nevertheless, that's part of this dominator culture. Those who have a stake in something. Have you knew the American comedian Bill Hicks? No?
I don't know many comedians.
Okay, because he passed away probably in 96, I think. Correct me, guys, in the chat or in the... But he had to say sometimes at the end of his show, very laughable show and stuff. He was crazy. But he was like, life is like a ride. It's go up and down and hauling around. It's like an amusement park. And more you do that cycle, more you realize it's real or it's just a ride. And then someone on the ground at the end of the ride, he said, yes, it's a ride. I have a lot of money invested in it, so don't change it. So, so that's I think that,
amusing.
Yeah. So it was his metaphor about like life is like a ride. And so we are so distracted. Like right now, let's talk about, and we could go also about Scrum thing if you have any question about Scrum and with intensive people, but the algorithm on social media, the bubble creation, that's also a disruptor it's a negative disruptor because, of course, as an agilist, I love to disrupt the status quo. But now when I'm using that word now, it's disrupting people to have, I think, a same debate. Because probably even myself, and after when we came back from the holidays, like this week of the night, I intervene, even if I said I won't because it's Anna, it should be posting on my LinkedIn, but sometimes I see a subject and I'm like, and so this famous chat GPT, and especially with this interview of a Scrum Master. Have you seen that one?
I've heard heard about it, but I did not read it.
No, but have you seen? It's from Stephen Wolfer.
Yeah,
I think
the AI was interviewed.
Yeah. And I'm not impressed, to tell you the truth. I'm not impressed, and you'll see because you're going to do a simulation with us.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's Anna or mine, but you'll see. And so, of course, we inspire ourselves to refine our question. I think Stephen Wolfer did a great job with his 73 question, and
it's a new
and why?
because it was 66 last
but we evolve.
Yes.
We evolve. So, and even though I've got also something that I built with Cristina Malfiesta. Sorry, Cristina Malfiesta. Tell me if I pronounce it well. I have a problem with language lately. I used to be so good when I was in call center.
Mm-hmm.
Any language, I was pronouncing well. Now I'm getting old or something. I'm struggling even with your name. It's so easy. Shun.
Sure.
Yeah, I always doubt like I mispronounced your name. I'm sorry about that. So anyway, Christina and we built also 42 tasks of Scrum Master, but actually we had up to 50. But I have a fetish with the number 42 because it's the meaning of life and everything. And
it's 6 times 7.
Douglas Adams, yes, also. But Douglas Adams says 42 is the answer to the universe. And, and the Hitchhiker Guide. So that's what, but actually we should update it too. And now we probably go up to 66 or whatever. 66. Task of a Scrum Master. Whoa. Anyways, so it's always evolving, but you could have the light version. And the funny thing is we use that list of tasks because, there's no junior. You're not a junior. You're introducing yourself.
Yeah.
And you will gain experience. And so when you gain experience, you add up to those tasks. And you'll see the 73 question actually. The addition he made, he did that, I think, in 2020.
The 66 in 2020, but
the 73.
22.
Okay, so maybe. But I was really pleased to see, even with the chatbot, he tried those executive purpose question of a Scrum Master.
Oh.
I loved it because a lot of people, again, when you see on YouTube and everywhere on social media, Scrum Master versus Agile Coach, there's no such things. You and I were both coach. But the difference is I'm older than you, so I get experience before, but that's it. But I'm sure I will learn a lot from you after your couple of experience. So that's because this is what I do. When I start this podcast, this Friday Live Agile, I was in the lab in Tulum, and 22 years old, developer or even entrepreneur were teaching me how to reorganize my way of doing business, and I loved it.
Actually, we can learn from everyone.
Yes.
Like literally everyone. There's a very, very old saying. So people who say philosophy started in Greece, I may have an argument. But because I don't know if people heard of Tahetep. But Tahetep is an ancient Egyptian, he was an advisor. And one of his advice was to not become arrogant for what you know or for your position, because truth can be found everywhere and with everyone. So to always listen to others. So never assume that, I'm the greatest person in the room, because no, that's not true. Even if you have the biggest title, you're the older, or I don't know, or the oldest, or the richest, whatever, maybe the person that you did not think you would learn anything from them, maybe they will teach you a big lesson or make your day. You never know.
Beautiful. I love it. And this is exactly what make me very impatient. And this paradigm, and I try to be out of this always duality, because I think this is the trap of this 3D world. If we'd like to think, and I'm going to be a little bit esoteric, but if we'd like to think fourth and fifth dimension, we have to free ourselves of this duality. But for me, again, when I went, my last kind of class that I did to improve myself, my professional development, was acting as an executive coach. I've been doing it for 5 years, and then that's like this. I started Scrum in 99, and my first certification with Scrum Alliance was in 2016. Could you imagine that? Because the market pushed it to me.
Yeah.
Because it's part of the must-have as a job requirement. But anyways, nevertheless, the thing is, my last one was something about acting as an executive coach. So I've learned great thing. I was confronting after 5 years of helping executive as a Scrum Master, by the way, also, not just the Agile coach, because that's the funny thing. They will say there's a difference between a Scrum Master and an Agile coach. I see. The only difference that could be, like Mike Beadle used to say, I love his quote. I'm always like, he was my late master. He says, like, having a coach called a Scrum Master will help you do great Scrum. Because if you choose so. And then you could do Scrum with whatever everything, because you don't want a Scrum but you want a Scrum with or everything, because it's always like that. So that's the funny thing. So and then an Agile coach is whatever, he came up because he was more into this Agile Alliance type of mindset of the creation of patterns, or that was practiced for years. But now we are doing a third wave revolution with the Open Leadership Network of Daniel Mizik and so on, like to push the ideas. There's no practice anymore, no framework anymore. It's more about patterns and habit and attitude of collaboration and so on. And bringing back this great foundation of the open space to make decision. And, that's what I love with the update guide of November 2020. Not only they scrap a lot of things to make it even more open for Scrum, 13 page instead of 160.
Yeah.
And for years, we didn't have any guide anyways. So I think the first guide came in 2006, if I'm correct.
That's awesome.
That was about 50 page. Now they made it evolve to a 160 page version of 2016, 10 years after exactly that was. And now for the 25th anniversary or so, they made it 13 page, very like boop, 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 eye level, no mention of Agile, because it's not Agile. Scrum is not Agile, no news. It's part of the foundation of creating the Agile software, but that's another story. But anyways, I'm disgracing now. You could stop me, huh? Stop me. Sean, please. You could stop me at any time. You jump, it's a crosstalk. But yeah. So doesn't cease to, we have 15 spies. One like it. I don't know at what moment we received the like. It's always good to know, but I'm not paying for specific statistics, so I don't see the engagement. Yeah, Google charge us for just Google because for the other platform. It's no Google Analytics that will give you just all the numbers and stuff. But if you want to know when people click like to your engagement, but first there's two things. You have to pay for the Prime Google Analytics, but you have also to be more than 697. You have to be 1,000 member, because that's the algorithm thing. It's always like so they give you some kind of free nannies when you reach more people. So it's all about quantity, not quality.
Yeah.
And so the funny thing is,
but it's the consumerism mentality, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
so I cannot have access to those stats until I reach 1,000. And this is what they push. And me, I said to Sam, I don't mind to say like, oh, smash the like button, yes, and do that. But I'm not doing it. I'm not monetizing it. It's not my revenue stream for, let's say, the world clash, because if the world clash, there's no internet. So how good will have been to have, but and this escape velocity of all of these techpreneur, those, you better have something else. Like a lot of people make money with podcasts. Look at Joe Rogan, but Joe Rogan was already a UFC fighter. He was already working for ESPN. He had a name. Like Jordan Peterson is the same. He started being known because he opposed some things at his university, and then he went public and people interview him. So it's always like, and a lot of people, some people work to me, oh, do you want to be the Alex Jones or the Jordan Peterson of Agile? Not necessarily, but if it's the outcome, I said, why not? But I'm not, but for me, it's not a career. I just like, I'm outspoken and I'd like to speak about things. And a lot of people do podcasts on Agile, and it's so fucking boring. And they just talk about the same shit. They just talk about the same narrative. So that's why we are called their real Agile. It's that we don't say we are the real Agile, but we're the real McCoy, meaning like we go to the ground of what it is. Then after, let's elevate it by having a conversation.
Customer feedback.
Exactly. So let's, it's 12:55 Eastern. So if you guys there are watching from Twitter and YouTube don't have any questions, I will ask Shun, and apparently nobody is logging in to
the Zoom meeting.
Yeah, the Zoom meeting, nor the whatchamacallit. So maybe I should do this like that too. Let's show this. I have a 30-second delay for. So let's show it. So the link is in the chat, guys, or you open your Zoom app and you dial the PMI, will appear in a couple of seconds. It's always, I told you, it's 45 seconds with LinkedIn. I'm sure it's already on YouTube.
On the YouTube, yeah.
Et voilà. You see, that's what I told you. LinkedIn is Microsoft. Microsoft, you know, how good are they at Microsoft? The one thing they're good at, the blue screen.
Oh, yeah.
And that sounds blum, blum, blum.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the thing, guys. So you have about 5 minutes because I have to free that room for another meeting of some of my roommates. And no, you see, the funny thing is sometimes I don't see any chat here because it's comment. But if I click here, no, nothing, I think. Anyways, it's kind of the weirdness of that. Anyways, user experience with Microsoft is not a thing. It's
But user experience on LinkedIn, I think since it's made as a social media, for the feed, it's good, but for the lives, sometimes maybe they did not have the time yet.
But it's still beta. They don't tell you, but when you are an influencer, they call me a creator, or I don't know. What's the name they give me now? I'm a creator, or something like this. That's why you could just follow me. To add me, you have to do something else. But anyways, so let's take 10 minutes. If nobody jumped and nobody came to Melon app, because there's Melon app, but I won't show it because it's more like private virtual studio. So only Mizik, Avid, Ryan, and some others that came to the show before, they will be able to join. But if you are anyone on the web, you could call there. But I have one great supporter. I thank you so much for being there. And I don't know if you have any questions about anything you want to talk, anything you want to share with our community of crazy jogger of the Dairy Agile and the Agile Lounge people. So the floor is yours if you want to. So.
I don't know.
You don't know. I'm sure you know.
Many things, but I don't know if it's stuff that can be spoken about in 5 minutes.
Oh, I said 5-10 minutes, something like this. Let's try it.
So I really don't know.
Any questions about your Scrum journey, or maybe you want to sell yourself? Who knows? Maybe there's someone, and then I will turn, because I know we're gonna do it. We're gonna do a redux when you're gonna see shown more than just my face, my ugly face. But now if she wants, I will remove the Scrum Beer thing. And by the way, the Scrum Beer, 2 spots left. This is amazing.
I think it's going to be a great event.
Yeah, January 26th. And this is this restaurant we're going to go, the Devil Diner Bar. Yes, I know it's pricey and blah, blah, blah. But I will have something to welcome you from the house. And so just come and have fun talking about Steve Denning, business agility and radical management. So you're invited. And now, I don't know, I could give you the mot de la fin about what are you looking for to change the world? I don't know, I'm just kidding. Just do you, like the Americans say, just do you. Is it? No, hold on a second.
No.
Now it's because I don't see anything, you have to tell me. Here we go. Yeah, exactly. Take control.
I'm controlling the computer. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't think one person will change the whole world because, I'm quite partial for Leibniz theory on monads and on human and everything as monads, but with different degrees of perception and of will. The term in French is appétition, but I'm not sure how to translate it to English. Appétition, from Leibniz philosophy, from monadology.
Appétition.
Because I have the book in French.
I must look. I'm stuck. Me neither. I don't know what. So, anyways.
I don't think one monad will have interaction with all of them.
Let's go back more pragmatically for you, because I would like to encourage you to tell our audience or anyone who will see it about you're becoming a Scrum Master.
Oh.
So why, and what would you like to, with what kind of team or organization you'd like to work with, or something like this? It's part of I think you should, because when I have guests on the podcast, they could talk about their book, about their training, so like that. But you would like to talk about like you are a Scrum Master and you need like more experience, let's say like this. But so why? And so just tell us about this, and it's going to be a nice thing. And I could cut this video and send it to you after, like.
Okay.
So, you know.
I would like to become a Scrum Master because I do agree a lot with the Scrum values. Actually, when I read the Scrum Guide and the Agile Manifesto for the first time, what really got my attention was the value, the fact that the individuals are placed at the center, and that it's all about creating work environments that is auspicious for all those involved. First of all, the team, and also the stakeholders and the business people who gravitate around the team. So that's what motivates me towards Scrum, for example. And also I realized that a lot of personal projects I've done in the past and I'm still doing do actually follow the Agile principles, and especially the Scrum values and pillars.
Interesting. It's not the first time I hear that. Like a lot of people do projects or development of something, and when they start reading this Agile Manifesto for software development, or the Business Agility Guiding Principle, or the Scrum Guide with the 5 values, they say like, we are doing this. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
You know why?
Because it's logic.
Yeah, it's common sense. It's only common sense. And the funny thing is, I remember like 20 some years ago when the Agile software with Scrum came out and everything. I'm not just talking about the book that I think you order from Schwaber and Beadle, but they were telling me like, so you were saying like the Agile guys getting together with putting post-it on the wall. He said, that's open space.
Yeah.
That's
open space for the team.
Yeah. So that's it.
Because
and make everything visual and make like so.
Yeah, because when you spoke about open space, the thing that came to my mind is with a friend, we created an open space about research on ancient philosophy. So it's a Discord server, and everyone who comes is the right person. And the only rules is like be respectful, keep it on topic and stuff. But
people seems to be afraid of that, because they will say like, no, I really need Jessica for that. Yeah, but if Jessica doesn't want to show up for a reason, she's not showing up.
Yeah.
So why will you force her to be part of this? It's like one tip for any Scrum Master: don't do all the 4 ceremonies because it's written, it's described in the guide.
No.
Maybe do it with an agreement of your team and follow a certain cycle for it. Okay. I like to talk about martial art. One thing that I love from Alistair Cockburn and Martin Fowler, 2 co-sanitary and very verbal about Agile is now shit. Unfortunately, the state of Agile is, even for, I think most of the sanitary of 2001 are completely vomiting on what's going on right now in the industry. Yes, it's horrible. But so they say like the shuari moment, shuari. And so yes, maybe at first you have to be more in the C2, control and command, in terms of if you're a coach, if you're a Scrum Master, your team is new to it, so you teach them, so they should learn from you.
Yeah, but I don't force them, I invite them to the learning.
Yes, too, exactly, you're right. So that's why like one of the reasons the soi-disant Agile transformation or Scrum adoption fail, it's because first, as you mentioned, they don't invite people or the right people. And they don't even calculate the attrition that they will leave to. And actually, when I do an assessment before, especially the big contract, where we ask 5-6 coaches to do an Agile transformation all at once into a big corporation, we actually force, as consultants, we say, hold on a second. We have to evaluate, not just assessing what some call at Lean Intelligent, the maturity level of understanding of Agile, but more to it is, could you already pinpoint among your engineer or your manager, especially the manager or the team lead that they call, that will have to either go out by themselves or will be forced out? That's a harsh reality that a lot of my colleagues don't want to hear about. They don't do this because they just want the gig. They just want the money. So they shut up about this. But these are very important questions. And we have a questionnaire at the Agile Lounge that we use to probe the business owner, the CEO and stuff, because they got to be ready. They get to be ready to face it, because change is not always an easy path. And more they will invite people, more people will be engaged. And that's why they will stay instead of going away. And if you're a manager, if you're my manager, and you don't like Scrum, I'm not talking to you, Scrum Master, you're a manager, you're my team lead. I'm a software engineer. But if you don't like Scrum, I will hate it as your employee, because I trust you. You helped me so much in this organization.
Well, it always depends, because I've worked with managers who are really not for Agile and who are very command and control, but I did not really agree with them, because they have their point is super valid, but I personally do not want to work with that kind of mentality. So that's possible. You don't always agree with your manager.
Exactly, but probably I lacked of the context about my example with you being my boss and me one of your greatest developers. The thing is, we had built among the years, like you saved my ass so many times in front of the other management level. Okay, I also help you deliver some values to customer and stuff like this. And we already know that we could do the right thing for the business owner and so on. And now these guys, back in the day, that was often it was not the IT guys. They were like the HR people. I despise this word, HR, but for the lack of a better term now. So they came with this organizational change. They don't understand the work of engineer. They don't understand the interaction of one of the guiding principles is make business and IT working together. So no, they don't look at it. They don't look at the attrition that will create. And especially they don't teach the middle management. They don't support the middle management. That's the thing. HR and organization change, the OCM people, organization change management, they just take care of the workers, which is good. But they should also sensibilize and educate all the level of management, because that will create a lot of change there. And how do you support your team? So that's why I'm saying, like, if you and I will work together in a software team, and now they want us to be a Scrum team, they teach us what is Scrum, but very by the book, like a prescription over a description, and then they just hire a Scrum Master with certified, but with not so much experience. Maybe he or she's from business, not very IT, so whatever. So they will just apply the Scrum bot. So if my boss who say, be part of that Scrum team for that feature trend of that value stream, and I see now that I'm confused, because nobody explained me is Shun still my leader, or it's Philip, the Scrum Master? But the right question, if you teach Scrum the proper way, you'll know that you are self-managed developers working with the support of the Scrum Master. So that's why even this alpha way of managing a business should sense. So this is why Mike Beadle was among the first with Steve Denning to discuss of business agility, which is the real revolution, because it's no more just IT software development. To support us, you, the boss, and me, the software engineer, we have to have a stake into this new model of production.
It's like a round table, everyone has a stake.
And production and management have to know that they no longer tell you and me what to do, because we have to figure that out. And this is what I love in the 13 pages of the new Scrum Guide, and I'll show it to a subsequent podcast, is the decision rights. It's clear and explicit there. And to have decision right, you and I, we need clarity of authorization from your boss. And so that's why I said that if you don't like Scrum, and we trust you, we love you, we have a great interaction, we did great work, we did great win. Now, it's not just the resistance to change, it's the fact that I trust Shun with my blood.
There's an effect.
And now they want me to report to a Scrum Master, which is not the case, but
should not.
Too often, this is how OCM people will, or the Agile Transformation Office within a PMO will do this. And then you will have a PM on top of the ESM and the PO. So the developers is confused because he think he has 3 boss. But my team lead, where are you? Please, I love you. I miss you. We were good before when you were calling the shot.
Yeah.
Now I have 3 people calling the shot, disagreeing between each other. That's the real story. I won't name any client, but here on the other side of the streets, it's all like this. Everywhere you have been looking, it's like this.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's why I said, like, to Scrum me out there, Scrum Master out there, what you've learned in your 3 days hotels or self-learning, when you start applying those patterns, and then you have a PM, a project manager, and your legs on your shoulder, should I say? Sorry about this. Like sometimes I'm just like, it's not good. I mean, like it's make people write on LinkedIn. Scrum doesn't work, among other things. But anyways, I'm ranting again.
That's why I think I know a lot of people don't disregard it, but I think that volunteer experience or doing Scrum or applying agility on teams where everyone is a volunteer does help, because they are not kept on the team because of money. They can walk out anytime.
Yep.
There's no boss, there's no hierarchy. They don't report to anyone, but they're there. And if they stay there, it's because the team goes well. It's because leadership is efficient, and because they feel they have the autonomy to stay there, and they have the motivation too. So I think that's something.
That's something to be explored more, I think. Will you come back as more a guest and a real better organization of camera like this? Because now it was like, I was expecting more people, but thanks anyway. You will blame it on the storms, I'm sure. They will blame it on the storms. But for those who are in Montreal, though. But anyways, I hope that the 18 people who subscribe for the Scrum Beer will also show up on the 26th. Sean will be there, so if you'd like what she said and her perspective, come with your perspective and let's have a great conversation over a debate. But debate is good too when it's due with respect. And once again, so the link on the Rumble and YouTube for the Scrum Beer, the 2 places left, is in the description. It will be in the pine comment as well. And again, if you didn't do that yet, share this video to inspire some other people with my craziness and my other ways of presenting agility and everything. So that was the 100th episode. And as Samuel just remind me right now in the private chat, it's actually 126 weeks in a row since Tulum Lab, that I'm going back actually for the end of March. Can't wait to see you guys there. Amazing entrepreneur of the digital space and the age of Agile. And the Scrum Beer, by the way, we're going to talk about this reinventing capitalism and everything that is sparked by this age of product movement. And and it's time to, as I said, 2023 is the year we have to decide. Of course, I have to force it and do all thing of split or thing, but you have to make up your mind, guys. Either you accept central planning and being told what to do and behave, or you become more independent. You remember who you really are. And as you know, I always finish the show with this, and it's for you too. You are a beautiful being. You are a powerful being. And remember, you are free to be whoever you want it to be and to do whatever you want it to do in respect of one another. Cheers, and see you for the 101 episode next Friday.